Welcome to Cory Turner Talks Cars. And does Porsche own Volkswagen or does Volkswagen own Porsche? We're going to talk about Volkswagen and their 12 different brands here in just a second. Want to remind you to stay tuned to the end of this video. We have a new segment called Pitch Your Ride, and that's where our viewers, if they have a car for sale, they have a chance to let us know about it. And Hayden LaFever has a 2001 Lamborghini Diablo Kit Car unfinished that he's in the process of selling right now. So we have a video of his car where he can pitch his ride at the end, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Also, you have another 8 days. It's going to be a week from tomorrow to win Dom's 1970 Dodge Charger Lego kit from the movie Fast and Furious. So we're giving that away. That's a really nice kit. You're going to want to do that. All you have to do is know the secret car for each video between now and then. You get one chance to enter for each video that you see, and you know the name of the secret car. So today, go to CoryTurnerTalks.com, click on Contact Us, and enter Lamborghini Diablo. That's the secret car for today, and you're entered to win, and then you can enter to win again tomorrow when you hear the next secret car of the day. All right, so let's jump in here and let's talk about Volkswagen. It just seems that every marquee that we hear of is owned by Volkswagen, and it's pretty close to that, right? So let's start off. We're not going to go in a lot of depth with these. I'm going to tell you each one of those, kind of when they acquired them, and maybe a little bit of fact about it, some little trivia about it. Volkswagen, we all know where it got its start, right? That was back in Nazi Germany, the people's car, and how that progressed from there. Of course, it was designed by Ferdinand Porsche, became the Volkswagen Beetle, as we all know and love, and then it went from there, right? And so Volkswagen became a private company. We're going to talk about that more when we talk about Porsche, but then of course it was embraced as the peace and love, the Beetle, the bus, the Volkswagen brand has grown from there and has made some amazing cars. But along with making amazing, iconic cars, they have acquired some amazing brands. So I'm going to break those down. We're going to talk about it. The first one, we will talk about their commercial vehicles. They do make commercial vehicles. These are a lot of, I would say, like delivery vans, the kind of, cargo vans, those kind of things. We're not going to talk a lot about those, but they do have the commercial vehicles brand. But let's talk about the brands that we know. In 1966, they acquired Audi from Daimler-Benz. Now that is kind of crazy to think about it. From Daimler-Benz, that's where Audi came from. It was called Auto Union at the time, but they acquired Audi. So Audi, of course, is one of their brands. That was in 1966. Now, in 1986, they acquired Seat. That is a Spanish company. I think one of the maybe first Spanish car companies, at least one of the most well-known. And that was actually their first non-German acquisition as far as a non-German automaker marquee. So that was actually a pretty big deal there. Now in 1991, they acquired a 31% stake of Skoda. That is the Czech Republic brand. So they took a 31% stake in that for about 620 million Deutschmarks, which was a pretty hefty investment. But since then, since 1991, it's estimated that they've put about another $12 billion into that car brand. And actually, it's really paying off. They are a very high percentage of the exports for the Czech Republic, and that's actually doing extremely well. Now we move on 7 years later in 1998 in one of the probably first kind of messy, strange issues, and that was when they were trying to get Bentley. So at the time, Volkswagen and BMW, they were both wanting to get into that really ultra luxury sedans, right? The high-end luxury sedan market. So VW went and bought Rolls-Royce. So that seemed like that should be a done deal. But there was an asterisk to that. So Rolls-Royce and BMW have been working together in building aircraft engines. And they've been working together since about 1971, right in that time frame. And so Rolls-Royce already had complete intentions to give the trademark to BMW. So what did Volkswagen actually buy if they're not buying the trademark? So after 5 years of going back and forth and trying to deal with all that with BMW, it came out that BMW walked away with Rolls-Royce and Volkswagen walked away with Bentley. So that's kind of how that all took place. That was resolved in about 2003, but we'll still go all the way back to Volkswagen really owning Bentley since 1998, right? So that was kind of a crazy thing there. Now, moving on, in 1998 also, they acquired Lamborghini, which they acquired for an estimated $111 million, which was a pretty hefty investment there. But they didn't stop. 1998 continued on in their acquisitions, and they bought Bugatti for $50 million, which was actually a steal because Bugatti had been just trying to stay out of bankruptcy since about 1995. And so they were just ripe for the taking, and Volkswagen was able to step in and do that. Now, in 2008, so we move on just a little bit, Scania, which does heavy buses and trucks and things like that, they acquired Scania. What's funny is Volvo had actually tried to take over that company and failed in the past, which is kind of an interesting tip or fact there. But Volkswagen took over them in 2008. Also in 2008, Ducati, right? We know the motorcycles Ducati. It was actually Audi that purchased Ducati for $1.2 billion US. So that was a pretty extensive acquisition there to take over Ducati. And it's actually owned by Audi, but of course Audi is owned by Volkswagen, so Volkswagen owns that. In 2012, MAN, the very large transport buses, heavy large trucks, they took over MAN in 2012, and which is kind of funny because MAN tried to take over Scania back in 2006, so that's kind of tied together just a little bit there, kind of humorous in that. Now that brings us on to Porsche. And earlier I said, does Porsche own Volkswagen or does Volkswagen own Porsche? So in 1966, I think it was 1960. I said 66, but it's actually 1960, I believe. Volkswagen went private. It had been government owned since then, but it went private. Now, the government still wanted some controlling stake in there, didn't want it to be overtaken, so they owned 20.1% of the company. Okay, so that's fine. So in 2005, Porsche SE, which is the company, the holding company that owns Porsche, it's owned by Ferdinand Porsche's family, so it's descendants of Porsche, decided they were going to take over Volkswagen. Okay, so what did they do? They started buying up and acquiring stocks, and by 2006, they owned 25.1% of Volkswagen shares. So that's pretty impressive, right? They're on their way. And kept pushing. Now, by 2008, they had acquired 42.6% with an options of another 31%. So they were getting very close. The target was the 75. Now, with them getting very close to those numbers and with the government still owning 21%, there was a very narrow pool of stocks not owned by either one of them. So what happened? Of course, stock prices soared, and there for a short time, Volkswagen was known as the most valuable company in the world, actually. Of course, it went back and forth. It had to go to the courts. They had to make rulings. And finally, really by 2011, Porsche and Volkswagen actually merged. So it was the parent company Volkswagen owning Porsche, but it was actually the merger of those two iconic companies. So technically, yes, Volkswagen owns Porsche, but Porsche made a big push to try to acquire all the stocks to own Volkswagen. So that's kind of a crazy thing that happened there. But at the end of the day, Volkswagen owns Porsche. It's a brand under Porsche, and Volkswagen owns those 12 brands. So let's recap those real quick. The 12 brands, they have their commercial vehicles. They have Audi, Seat, they have Skoda, Bentley, Lamborghini, Bugatti, Scania, Ducati, MAN, and Porsche. Oh, and Volkswagen. I can't forget that they own Volkswagen as well. So really a crazy story of acquisitions that has really put Volkswagen in this powerful place of making some amazing cars. Bentleys, Lamborghinis, right? Volkswagens, Porsches, Skodas. I mean, Ducatis motorcycles. So yeah, it's been an incredible journey. So that's a quick look at Volkswagen. We're going to go through in some future videos and look at each one of those in a more individual state and kind of really dive into all of them, especially the entire Porsche deal. That's crazy. But the Rolls-Royce Bentley deal and BMW, that was insanity too. That was crazy. So we're going to take a look at that. Now, real quick, we're going to fall into Pitch Your Ride. And Hayden LaFever has this 2001 Lamborghini Diablo that he has up for sale right now. This Lamborghini Diablo Kit Car. It's unfinished kit car. So let's take a look at that real quick.
This is my 6.0 Diablo B&B Customs kit. It's on a Fiero stretched chassis. So looking at this, we have some GT wheels. It came with the car. They were pretty expensive. It already has the headlights. I'm pretty sure they're already wired. Comes with turn signals, one for each side. They're authentic Lamborghini 6.0. I have them in storage currently. Can't find them currently available for sale, or it's difficult to find a pair. I also have the AGP glass, which really needs to be reinstalled. Also very expensive. I also have the AGP windows. As you see, they tried to fit it here and just sort of gave up. The mirrors also come. They broke off. Inside of the door comes with gas springs, but they're not currently installed. Has the steering wheel, just some carpet inside. Comes with a console, dashboard, fiberglass interior for the doors, which are currently in storage. They're molded after the real Lamborghini 6.0. They will need to be wrapped, but it all comes with it, the interior and the glass. Currently, this is the back. Currently, there is a Grand Prix engine in it. It's a V6. Came out of a 2008 Grand Prix. Works just fine. I saw it start up before taking it out of the donor. Does not come with a wing. Did not come with the wing. The engine is mostly wired. It was wired before getting here. The engine was not mounted, so it'll need mounting. They could not weld the mounts onto the frame. So the transmission and engine are just sitting in the car, and they were mostly wired. And that's about everything for the car. If you have any questions, let me know. 931-529-1745. Hayden LaFever. Thank you.
So Volkswagen has a crazy story. All of the brands that they've acquired and that they own, and like I said, each one of them has their own story, and we're going to dive into those in future episodes. So remember to like, comment, and share. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and let's talk about cars tomorrow.